Queen Charlotte is a character that we've all become extremely familiar with throughout the entirety of the Bridgerton series on Netflix. But this time round, we got to see her origin story and how she came to be the eventual Queen of England alongside her husband King George III. Merging between the younger version and older version of the character, we saw the troubles that she went through, along with seeing why she was contrastingly different in the present day. With a rather beautiful ending that I didn't see coming, let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this show. So let's get into it. Here is Queen Charlotte: A Bridgerton Story Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The 6 episodes that made up this show was a true love story, and one which showed us just how much love can prevent somebody from doing something, but also at the same time just how much one is willing to do for their significant other when love is there. What started off as Charlotte not really wanting to be with George, we eventually saw her grow to want to do anything for him. Even right up until the present day, several decades later, where we saw that she wanted her children to have an heir in order for his family line to be able to continue, something which every monarch wants. However, due to his mental state not being in the strongest form throughout the entirety of his life, it was something that was ultimately left down to her. We saw that King George was being questioned by all of those around him, including Parliament, due to him not being able to come out and address his people, and there being multiple rumours about what he was getting up to, leading people to question if he was even fit enough to be the king. All throughout George's life, he had terror and fear within him. He even said to himself terror was the price of being a royal. He was constantly worried that he would let the nation down when he had the fate of all of them resting upon his shoulders. A pressure which even as a child he felt, and it ultimately carried through right up until later on in life. Something which we saw in the closing moments when he was still expressing his interest in the stars and doing his drawings on the wall. The real King George III did actually exhibit some signs of mental illness towards the end of his reign. Apparently towards the end he became extremely deranged, would speak endlessly for hours without stopping, and he even got to a point where he was foaming at the mouth. The reasoning behind it wasn't explained, nor is it likely to be the same as what this show gave, but even though this show is fiction, there was an element of fact behind it, showing that the mental state of the king did get worse. Right at the end of the season, we saw that the younger version of Queen Charlotte had fully embodied her role as the person who came to make him calm and was there by his side when he needed her most. So much so that as he was on the verge of having an episode before the ball, she managed to prevent it from happening by telling him that all was going to be okay. We also saw that she was pregnant with her second child and that she would be going on to have Prince Frederick. Charlotte loved George despite the issues that he had, and as much as he was pushing her away because he felt as though he was the troll that she mentioned during the first episode and that she wouldn't love him, it didn't faze her in the slightest, showing just how much she did truly care about him. When it came to Charlotte in the present day, I was slightly baffled by her behaviour and the way that she was talking to her children, and this was also supported when they said that she was never like a mother to them and that they were only ever her queen. However, there was a true reasoning to that which was answered right at the end. She was so forcefully insistent on securing an heir because she wanted George's line to continue, showing that even in the present day she was doing all that she could to fulfill the promise that she made to her husband, and showed that she loved him, even if he wasn't as present in her life. With others around her saying that the queen must be extremely lonely, I don't think that was actually the case. She lived a life with George and she had some very good years with him, and even though as we saw at the end he wasn't in the best mental state, he was still in there. The scene under the bed was genuinely beautiful and was actually quite emotional to watch, seeing the younger version of George say thank you to the older Charlotte as if to say thank you for everything. And almost holding the fort throughout their time together was a moment that really tugged on the heartstrings, with him also saying how she didn't go over the wall all of those years ago and smiling showed the love that he had for her and the memory that he still held. It was a beautiful end to the show and rounded off the love story, the one true love that she had compared to all of the others that were around her, including Lady Danbury and Violet. Charlotte had all of the love that she ever needed from George, and she didn't want to give that love to anybody else. Let's touch on Lady Danbury and Violet. I was a huge fan of Lady Danbury's story in both past and present. We saw her wanting to be a leader in terms of unifying society, and she put those needs above everything else. When Lord Danbury died, a person which she was raised to care for and like, we saw a sense of lostness take over her mind, and the idea of losing everything became apparent. However, she truly came into her own when she was with Lord Ledger, Violet's father, but she didn't end up being with him due to not wanting to destroy a family. Instead, she had the opportunity to be with Queen Charlotte's brother, but she ended up declining it and saying that she would never marry again. I think that was for a couple of different reasons. One, because she couldn't face the idea of having to be there for somebody else and having to bear children and like everything that they liked. And also because the one person that she truly cared for and loved was Lord Ledger, somebody she knew that she would never be able to be with. He was somebody who truly made her feel special, and she knew she'd never get that from anybody else ever again. We did see though in the present day that Violet found out that there was something going on between her father and Agatha when she found one of his birthday hats in her house after she got it out. There was a look that was present between the both of them, as if to say that they both knew what the other was thinking, but no words were spoken, as if to say that they both understood. Agatha eventually found happiness on her own in the end, and was given the inheritance and managed to keep her titles, showing that the friendship with the Queen prevailed over going behind her back. Overall review. I thought this show was really good. It flew by when watching, which is always a good sign of a great show. All of the cast members delivered phenomenal performances, and I found the blend of the two time periods to be extremely complimenting. I did wonder why they were doing it at first, but as it was happening, I felt it start to come together and support each story well. The ending for me was just pure perfection. I thought it was beautiful and extremely emotional. Queen Charlotte in the present day definitely wasn't the most likable, but when she was with George at the end, it was a moment that really did show you that she was still the same young girl that fell in love with him all of those years ago when she first arrived. I thought Brimsley also had some great moments in this season too. The dance that he was doing at the end with Reynolds, with it transitioning into him dancing on his own in the present day, showed the love that he had for somebody, and the mourning of that love that he was still going through, even all of those years later. The blend of the string quartet playing modern songs with the characters dancing over it made a weird but extremely complimenting combination, and I felt it actually added value to what was unfolding. I'm pleasantly surprised by this show. I didn't expect it to be half as good. It had less of the drama and scandal as what Bridgerton does, and instead focused more on a true love story and accepting people for who they were. So, there you have it. Queen Charlotte: A Bridgerton Story Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this show? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.